Chosen one, this is about your divine royal energy. God has declared your status. This moment stands apart from any other you've experienced. You've crossed a sacred threshold, entering something eternal, something heaven has meticulously crafted for ages. This royal energy within you, it's not just a metaphor, it's not just hype. It is a revelation. The atmosphere has already undergone a shift. Something unseen, yet deeply felt, has started aligning in your favor. A crown, not made by human hands, but decreed by God, now rests upon you. You were once hidden, but now your status has been proclaimed from the throne. God has declared it so. The universe is responding accordingly. Watch this video until the very end. And in the comments, write your warmest wishes and type Amen, along with the number 99. Your words unleash divine action and energize the frequency of the universe in miraculous ways. May your wishes unfold in the rhythm of heaven's perfect will. Now, chosen one, hit the hype button and like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. Everything around you has started recognizing your shift, even if nobody verbalizes it. The very air carries your name with a different resonance. The old resistance has begun to crumble because it can no longer withstand what God has placed inside you. There's a whisper carried on the winds, not just of change, but of profound restoration. This isn't about some fleeting breakthrough. It's about the revelation of your eternal identity. The invisible crown you've worn in silence is now radiant and acknowledged in the spirit realm. Every battle you faced was not random. It was because you carried a royal signature coded directly into your soul. The warfare was never about your perceived weakness. It was about your hidden, yet undeniable status. But now that status is being fully revealed. There is a weight to your presence that wasn't there before. You can undoubtedly feel it. You enter spaces and the energy realigns itself. People notice something different, but can't quite put their finger on it. That's what royal energy does. Commands without uttering a word. It declares without trying. It reigns without force. And now God has confirmed it, not to inflate your ego, but to activate your lasting legacy. You were never meant to simply survive. You were marked for rulership, for dominion, and for spiritual governance. That's precisely why lesser places began to reject you. It wasn't punishment. It was divine protection. God was guiding you inexorably to your throne. There are moments when everything within you knows that something has shifted, even if nothing around you looks demonstrably different just yet. That moment is right now. The declaration has gone forth from heaven's courtroom. You are royal not because of external status, but because of divine assignment. There's a heavenly rank you've been called to walk in. And though you've waited for confirmation, you always knew deep down that you were different. Others tried to box you in, to silence your voice, or to belittle your vision. But they were never truly fighting you. They were fighting the light of royalty hidden deep within you. God has now made it visible for all to see. You've entered a timeline where your steps are no longer random. Every move you make now echoes with prophetic weight. What seemed insignificant before is now sacred. The words you speak carry a different kind of authority. The way you carry yourself holds your legacy within it. The opposition is confused because you no longer move from a place of reaction, but from a place of revelation. That's what happens when royal energy activates. You stop chasing validation because you've already been stamped with God's decree. The struggles you've endured weren't designed to crush you. They were allowed to polish your crown. Every moment of delay was a forge. Every closed door was a refinement. Every betrayal was the sharpening of discernment. You weren't being broken. You were being elevated in secret. Now the elevation is no longer hidden. The air around you is charged. You are being placed in rooms where your name was once unspoken. Doors that once ignored you are now responding without your knock. That's what happens when God declares your status. It opens what no human can close. You're not called to impress crowds. You're called to influence dimensions. Your presence isn't about applause. It's about alignment. This royal energy isn't a reward. It's a restoration. It's what you carried before the world tried to make you forget. You've always been royal. Life just hadn't caught up to the prophecy yet. But now the prophecy has turned into presence. The presence is turning into performance. And the performance is manifesting in your every single step. You were never random, you were never ordinary. Even when you blended in, heaven still called you chosen. Your tears were not in vain. Your silence was not weakness. It was a preparation for this very moment. Royal energy doesn't shout. It simply arrives. And you have arrived. The atmosphere knows it. The spirit world knows it. Now the earth will witness what God has already announced. You are stepping into a divine frequency where miracles recognize you, not because of your effort, but because of your very essence. There's no need to compete. You were never even in the same category. Your anointing was customized. Your assignment was handpicked. That's why generic paths never quite fit you. God was always calling you to carve a new route, a royal route. That's why the rejection hurt so deeply. It was making room for the recognition that's now unfolding before your very eyes. You're not in waiting anymore. You're in walking. You're walking into manifestation. You're walking into influence. You're walking into your divine seat. This is a royal installation, not by the hands of man, but by the voice of the eternal God. This is not the beginning of your journey. It's the revealing of your rulership. The angels assigned to you are now shifting their instructions. They are clearing paths. They are guarding gates. They are aligning divine encounters. The time has come for your rank to no longer be spiritual alone. It is now about to be seen by all. Your outer life is about to match your inner authority. God has not just called you to see the kingdom, you've been called to legislate it. Your presence is being activated for influence. You are no longer just walking by faith, you are walking by command. What once was blurry is now in sharp focus. What once was distant is now at your feet. And this is only the beginning of what your royal energy will awaken. The story isn't about who left you, who doubted you, or who betrayed you. The story is about what God has placed deep inside you. And now the earth must respond accordingly. You were built differently from the very start, but now the layers are being peeled back, revealing the essence that was always there. What others mistook for arrogance was actually clarity. What they called stubbornness was sacred conviction. You weren't being difficult. You were carrying depth in a world obsessed with mere surfaces. The royal energy in you made it hard to settle. You couldn't fake joy in average situations. You couldn't stay small in systems that simply didn't honor your soul. That tension was the birthing ground of your emergence. And now your emergence is no longer silent. The royal light in you is speaking without sound and moving without any force. There is a very good reason your journey took longer than you expected. A divine rank requires divine preparation. God didn't want you to wear your crown with broken hands or approach your destiny from a wounded mindset. That's why there were detours. That's why people left. That's why you often felt unseen and unheard. It wasn't punishment. It was preservation. You were being trained for the throne, not a throne built by mortal hands, but a throne ordained in the unseen realms. A throne where your words are assignments, your presence is breakthrough, and your name becomes a key. This level of influence isn't simply given. It's earned through obedience, silence, and surrender. Many didn't understand you because you weren't supposed to be understood by everyone. You were meant to be discerned. And those who couldn't see it weren't meant to walk with you into this next, higher level. When God declares your status, He also prunes your circle of influence. Not everyone can witness your crowning. Not everyone is qualified to hear the sound of heaven announcing your arrival. The elevation comes with a sacred silence. And in that silence, heaven is actively working on your behalf. Your path is no longer based on mere chance. It is divine choreography, directed by the one who authored your destiny before time even began. Everything you went through was strategically aligning you with a frequency of royal manifestation. The places you cried, the nights you felt utterly forgotten, the moments where nothing seemed to make any sense. They were all strategic in their own way. Each one sharpened your vision, purified your motives, and protected your crown from harm. Now you no longer just dream of legacy. You walk in it, you breathe it, you carry it like a distinctive scent in the atmosphere. People are undeniably drawn to you without truly knowing why. That's not just charisma. It's divine magnetism. God has placed something powerful in your spirit that awakens purpose in others. That's what royalty does. It doesn't just sit idly on a throne. It builds one for others to occupy. You have now entered the stage of your life where the background becomes the very platform. The quiet seasons have cultivated profound wisdom. The storms have produced incredible resilience. The losses made space for authentic gain in your life. And now the gains you receive won't just be material possessions. They'll be dimensional as well. You'll gain clarity of vision, spiritual alignment, access to new opportunities, and abundant favor from every side. You'll see patterns long before others even recognize them. You'll walk right into opportunities that don't even exist for other people yet. This is not luck. This is not coincidence. This is the direct result of heaven's rank being spoken into time and space. There's a divine reverence following closely behind you now. Even people who once disrespected you are beginning to deeply feel the shift within you. They may not openly say it, but they certainly feel it within their spirit. Something has undoubtedly changed. You no longer respond in the same way. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself to others. You no longer negotiate your very identity. That's not pride speaking. That's placement. God has placed you in a position where explanations are no longer necessary because the abundant fruit will eventually speak for itself. The undeniable results of your alignment are about to testify louder than your voice ever could. Royal energy needs absolutely no introduction. It simply arrives, and everything adjusts accordingly. You're not merely meant to accumulate vast wealth. You're meant to become a conduit, a gate, for it to flow through. Your hands are not ordinary. They've been carefully prepared to carry what others are simply unable to hold. That's why the attacks against you were so severe and relentless. That's why the opposition was so fierce. It wasn't ultimately about stopping you. It was about trying desperately to distract you before your grand unveiling. But now that unveiling has begun, you no longer have to fight to be seen. You've become the revelation itself. You don't require a stage to be relevant and have a meaningful impact. Your presence is the undeniable evidence of prophecy being fulfilled right before everyone's very eyes. You don't need to chase miracles. Miracles now chase you because your rank has been divinely declared. Every choice you make from this moment forward creates significant waves, not only in your life but also in the lives of countless others. You've been entrusted with significant impact. That's why your steps must be so intentional. That's why your time must be carefully guarded. You're no longer in the tedious season of proving yourself to anyone. You've stepped powerfully into the glorious realm of fulfilling yourself, of becoming everything you were uniquely designed to be. The incredible power you carry within you isn't solely for your personal benefit. It's for generations yet unborn. Your spiritual alignment is unlocking doors for other people you haven't even had the distinct pleasure of meeting yet. That's what royal energy does. It effortlessly transforms atmospheres without ever asking for permission to do so. There is a noticeable calmness residing in your spirit now, not because everything around you is currently perfect, but because everything is now fully aligned with God's purpose for your life. Your battles have ultimately given you stamina and resilience. Your intentional silence has given you a strategic edge. Your heartfelt prayers have given you a detailed blueprint for your future. And now you are walking in divine rhythm with your Creator. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are certainly not behind in any way. You are right on time. For this very moment, heaven has been preparing you since long before you were even formed in your mother's womb. The throne wasn't empty. It was purposefully reserved just for you. And now God is joyfully seating you upon it, not to dominate others, but to clearly demonstrate what royalty truly looks like when it's birthed in the fires of adversity and then crowned in glorious victory. This is truly only the beginning of your journey. The momentum you feel building within you is not accidental. It is absolutely prophetic. Every delay is now being divinely reversed. Every season of stagnation is being shaken loose. Every overlooked seed that you've planted is now vibrantly blooming and bearing incredible fruit. Your name is being whispered in hushed tones in places you've never even entered. Your influence is rising like the morning sun. Unstoppable, undeniable, and unshakable. And through it all, God remains your ultimate source of strength and provision. You are not standing in this moment because of your own skill or merit. You are standing because of God's overwhelming favor. And that favor is about to powerfully multiply in your life. Your confidence has never been about making noise or drawing attention to yourself. It has always been about deep inner knowing. And now that knowing is finally taking shape in the world all around you. This is the season where your royal energy is no longer just theory. It's now tangible manifestation. Your atmosphere is rapidly catching up with your anointing. Your external reality is bending to align with your core identity. The invisible is visibly becoming visible. The internal is dynamically becoming external for the entire world to see. Everything that once felt so incredibly far away is now right at your doorstep because God has publicly declared your status. And when God speaks, everything that He has created must respond in obedience. Even time itself bows when your sacred name is called by heaven. You are confidently entering places that were previously blocked off to you, not because the blockage has suddenly lifted, but because your new, higher status has drastically changed the entire access code. You're no longer trying to desperately force open doors that simply don't fit your frequency or your calling. You're walking right past them because what lies ahead is specifically tailored to your royal identity and destiny. You've intentionally shed the old garments of past seasons. The limiting beliefs they carried no longer suit you. You've powerfully outgrown the disguises you once wore for survival in a fallen world. Now there is absolutely no need to hide your true identity. The throne requires you to be visible, to be bold, and to be fully present in the moment. Those who once overlooked you will have no choice but to witness the incredible glory now resting so powerfully upon you. But this isn't about simply proving them wrong. It's about proving God's faithfulness to all those who remain steadfast to the very end. You're not here to boast in your own strength or accomplishments. You're here to clearly demonstrate what grace truly looks like when it crowns a faithful soul with such honor. Every no you once heard was simply God reserving your resounding yes for such a pivotal moment as this. That divinely appointed moment is now. The spiritual realm has already adjusted to your new identity. The physical earth is just now catching up to the revelation. The sheer weight of glory you now carry cannot be ignored or easily dismissed anymore. It will speak for itself without you even needing to say a word. Your voice carries an undeniable authority that pierces through distractions and cuts right to the heart of the matter. What once overwhelmed you no longer even phases you in the slightest. You've walked straight through the fire and emerged completely unscathed. Not because you were invincible or somehow immune, but because your divine purpose was unquenchable. That fire forged something incredibly powerful within you that even heaven itself joyfully celebrates. It burned away all of the excess baggage, the crippling fear, and the insatiable need to explain yourself to others. What remains now is pure, unadulterated royalty. No more running. No more self-doubt. No more unnecessary delays. You were divinely born for this very expression, for this grand unveiling, for this extraordinary moment where your true identity and your ultimate destiny become one and the same. This isn't just about occupying a physical platform. It's about embodying a tangible presence. The world simply doesn't need another echoing voice. It desperately needs your unique frequency. That's precisely why you simply couldn't sound like everyone else around you. That's why your path was different, quieter, and often longer than you expected. God was carefully tuning you, refining your tone, and precisely aligning your precious soul with a heavenly rhythm that absolutely cannot be faked or replicated. What's currently coming through you isn't rehearsed or manufactured. It's pure divine recall. Your inner spirit remembers what your conscious mind is just now beginning to fully understand. You were always royal at your very core. This fallen world simply forgot. But God never did. And all of heaven has been eagerly waiting for this appointed time to finally arrive. The irony is that you were already walking in royal energy long before you even knew what to call it. You carried influence even in the shadows. You radiated quiet authority even in obscurity. Your very presence tangibly shifted the energy in entire rooms long before you even spoke a single word. It wasn't about being seen or drawing attention to yourself. It was about being palpably sensed by those around you. And now what was once sensed is finally being publicly seen. You are currently stepping into a new level of clarity that has nothing to do with titles or public applause. It's the kind of deep clarity that brings profound peace, that stabilizes your very posture, and that makes you utterly unshakable, not out of any sense of pride, but because God has made you immovable in Him. Now, the incredible ripple effects of your rising will begin to manifest all around you. People directly connected to you will start to see undeniable blessings unlock simply because of their proximity to your divine purpose. That's not ego. That's simply overflow. When God clearly declares a specific rank for you, everything intimately tied to that very declaration must inevitably elevate alongside you. That undoubtedly includes your physical home, your most valued relationships, your physical and mental health, your financial resources, and your hopeful future. Royal energy doesn't just affect you as an individual. It permanently alters the very atmosphere of your entire lineage. That's precisely why the spiritual warfare against you was so generational in nature. The enemy wasn't just attacking you as an individual. He was desperately trying to disrupt what you were so powerfully carrying for those who would come after you in the generations to come. But he failed miserably in his attempts. You endured the intense pressure. You overcame every single obstacle. You remained powerfully aligned with God's purposes even when it felt so much easier to simply give up and walk away from it all. And now heaven is responding with abundant recompense for your faithfulness. You will no longer wonder why you had to walk alone for so very long. The reward awaiting you will ultimately make perfect sense of it all. Every single tear has a guaranteed return. Every single sacrifice has God's signature permanently imprinted upon it. God saw what no one else seemed to see within you, and now He is openly honoring what so many others casually ignored. Your silence has spoken louder than 1,000 loud declarations, and God has profoundly answered it with a powerful declaration all His own. There is a distinct line being permanently drawn right now, a definitive line that separates who you once were from who you are divinely destined to become. And this isn't merely temporary in nature. This is absolutely permanent. You are not reverting back to old patterns. You are not cycling back through past mistakes. You are definitely not repeating old, unhealthy patterns in your life. The long, tedious season of looped lessons is finally over. This is a clear, straight path forward leading you directly to where you need to be. This is a divinely orchestrated promotion in both spirit and in truth. Royal energy simply does not regress or revert back to former ways. It purposefully advances forward, it powerfully multiplies, and it authoritatively governs. And you are now fully authorized to move accordingly with great confidence. The Holy Spirit residing within you is confirming this truth with your every step. This is what it truly means to carry a rank divinely declared by God Himself. You no longer need to ask anyone for permission to be powerful. You no longer need to apologize to others for your precious anointing. You no longer need to shrink yourself down to fit into small, constricting spaces. You boldly stand tall. You radiantly shine your light. You powerfully speak your truth. You confidently build God's kingdom. And as you do all of these things, heaven fully backs your every move with great power and authority. This isn't arrogance. It's humble agreement with the Almighty. You are finally fully agreeing with what God has always clearly said about you from the very beginning. And when you intentionally walk in that kind of confident agreement, you undoubtedly become unstoppable in fulfilling your divine purpose. You're no longer just living from fading memories of the past. You're actively living from vibrant prophecies about your glorious future. Every single day that unfolds from this moment forward is a brand new chapter written by divine intent and purpose. You are not simply here to react to life circumstances. You are purposefully here to actively author the life that God has called you to live. And the words written through your very existence will not fade with the passage of time. They will powerfully echo into future generations because God didn't just assign you to a season. He has firmly anchored you to a lasting legacy. That's precisely why you had to endure so much preparation and refinement throughout the years. The specific platform you're now standing upon isn't solely for today's events. It's strategically designed for the entire lineage of breakthroughs that will come forth through your obedience and trust in God's will. When royal energy rises powerfully within a chosen one, it doesn't announce itself with fanfare and noise. Quietly moves forward with complete certainty and confidence. Your movements have clearly become sharper. Your discernment has become more refined and precise. Your periods of intentional silence have become more powerful and effective. The version of you that once constantly second-guessed everything she did is no more. In its place now stands a soul fully aligned with the voice of God, who no longer waits desperately for validation from others, but instead walks confidently in divine revelation. And in this brand new dimension, you will not only tangibly see favor, you will actively become a carrier of divine favor. People will undoubtedly wonder how you managed to do it all. The simple truth is that you aligned yourself with God's purposes. You obeyed His instructions. You patiently endured the process. And God has graciously honored your consistent endurance with powerful elevation. It's not just about being elevated to a higher position. It's about being entrusted with influence, with penetrating insight, and with divine instruction straight from the throne of God. And God absolutely does not entrust such precious gifts to those who have not yet been tested in the fires of adversity. You didn't just simply pass the test you were given. You powerfully became the inspiring testimony for others to follow. Every single pain you experienced was ultimately preparation. Every delay you endured was undoubtedly divine direction. Every single rejection you faced was actually divine redirection. And now all of those seemingly random pieces are finally converging together to form something so incredibly precise that even those who once openly doubted you will ultimately be silenced by your powerful becoming. Not necessarily because you will intentionally try to prove them all wrong, but because your radiant light will ultimately be so undeniable that they can no longer dispute it. This is the precise point where you intentionally stop reaching for external approval and validation. The abundant royal energy now flowing so freely through you doesn't ever beg or plead. It simply beckons with authority. It powerfully summons things into their divinely ordained order. It intentionally calls destiny forth out of its hiding place. It joyfully wakes up long-dormant divine connections. And it gracefully organizes every element of chaos in your life. And now your mere presence alone is undoubtedly enough to tangibly shift entire atmospheres. That's precisely why you internally feel so very different than you did just a short time ago. That's why other people look at you longer than they used to. That's why conversations tend to suddenly pause when you enter the room. Something extremely powerful within you has drastically changed for the better. Something inherently royal has finally awakened within your soul. And the entire world is actively adjusting to your true frequency and divine calling. You won't even need to chase opportunities anymore. They will willingly chase you down, not because of mere luck or chance, but because of spiritual law that has now shifted in your favor. God has publicly declared your sacred rank, and now everything that matches that rank is being magnetically drawn toward your chosen path. Wealth, strategy, divine protection, sacred wisdom, unmerited favor, and expansive growth. It's all coming forth, not as some unexpected surprise, but as a divinely scheduled release. This isn't a mere miracle born out of desperation. It's a deliberate manifestation powerfully born out of precise design. You were intricately designed from the very beginning for this very purpose, and now that design is finally coming alive. You'll undoubtedly begin to notice that the way you pray has shifted significantly as well. You're no longer pleading or begging God for help. You're confidently decreeing His will and purposes to be fully accomplished in your life. You're not pleading or begging for access to divine resources. You're confidently commanding alignment with God's divine plan for your life. That significant shift is not a sign of arrogance. It's simply a powerful sign of the growing maturity of your sacred calling. Royal energy doesn't cower in fear. It confidently moves forward in powerful authority. And your authority has been divinely sanctioned by heaven itself. When you speak now, things will undoubtedly move, not because of the volume of your voice, but because of the increased vibration and power within it. Your voice now carries significant weight in the spiritual realm, and all of heaven recognizes it. You're not just merely anointed, you're divinely appointed. In this new and powerful reality, your habits are also shifting for the better. You simply don't waste valuable time on meaningless pursuits anymore. You absolutely don't tolerate disorder or chaos in your surroundings. You definitely don't entertain confusion or negative self-talk. Your spirit now actively rejects anything and everything that doesn't align with the divine order you've been so powerfully called to. That's not being cold or uncaring. That's intentionally being clear and discerning. And clarity of purpose is an extremely precious gift that comes hand in hand with royal rank. When you are filled with clarity, you walk differently, you speak differently, and you act differently than you did before. You don't second-guess your decisions or your actions. You don't needlessly delay the fulfillment of your purposes. You simply don't settle for mediocrity or less than what you deserve. You confidently decide what your next steps should be. And your wise decisions are now powerfully infused with heaven's supreme authority. The people in your personal life will also significantly shift. Some will feel strongly drawn to you in awe and admiration. They'll undoubtedly sense the abundant grace, the profound wisdom, and the undeniable royalty within you. Others will sadly feel intimidated, not necessarily because of something you've personally done, but because they simply can't find the old, insecure version of you anywhere anymore. And that's perfectly okay. When you begin to powerfully ascend to new heights, not everyone can easily breathe at that higher altitude. Some may even choose to simply walk away from your life, and you should intentionally let them go. Your powerful elevation is never meant for mere explanation. It's specifically designed for your determined execution of the plans that God has for you. You really don't need to feel obligated to explain what God is currently doing in and through you. The abundant fruit in your life will ultimately reveal it all to the world in due time. There's an unshakable calm now resting peacefully upon your very soul. You've purposefully entered into a divinely ordained state of stillness and peace. Not necessarily the complete absence of physical movement, but the vibrant presence of unbreakable peace. That peace doesn't stem from your surrounding circumstances. It stems from the divine confirmation that you have received from heaven. Your inner spirit has clearly heard the powerful decree. You are royalty, and absolutely no passing storm, no one's critical opinion, and no unwanted delay can ever possibly cancel what heaven has already firmly affirmed and established in your life. You can tangibly feel it resonating deep within your very bones. You've definitively crossed over into something truly sacred and precious. The veil has finally been permanently lifted from your eyes. The old, unproductive cycles have definitively ended. The brand new chapter in your life has been permanently opened, and your given name is firmly engraved on every single page. The atmosphere surrounding you is now extremely fertile for rapid growth and development. Your very words now carry greater consequence and weight. Your sincere intentions now plant seeds for future growth. Your powerful visions now hold tangible weight in the spiritual realm. Nothing feels trivial or lightweight anymore. Everything feels supremely sacred, and you can tangibly feel God's loving hand upon your shoulder, not necessarily pushing you forward, but lovingly guiding you, steadily holding you, and powerfully keeping you aligned with everything that's about to gloriously unfold in your life. You are certainly not here to merely survive each day. You are divinely here to powerfully reign over your sphere of influence. This is the dawning of a new era where divine, royal energy joyfully meets with divine results. And you, precious chosen one, are right on time. Everything that once seemed so extremely far away is now steadily drawing nearer to you. Not because your physical reach somehow grew, but because your realm of influence significantly expanded. Royal energy doesn't strain or stretch in order to grasp something that is beyond its reach. It confidently magnetizes and attracts what is already perfectly aligned with its purposes into its orbit. And you are now confidently orbiting within your divine purpose. Every step you now take is carefully laced with heavenly strategy from above. You're not just aimlessly walking forward without clear direction. You're not just walking a path anymore. You are the path, the very route others are destined to follow. There was a purpose to your being hidden, a divine reason for the seeming obscurity. But those days are over. Now, revelation is the only language heaven uses when speaking about your life. The curtain has been drawn back, revealing the truth. The divine spotlight isn't focused on performance or empty showmanship. It's about placement, strategic positioning. God has deliberately placed you in a position where your impact simply cannot be ignored, where your presence resonates with undeniable force. Your entire journey, complete with its unexpected detours and winding roads, has led you to this precise moment in time. You might not have fully understood every delay, every seeming setback, but now the timing is beginning to make perfect sense. God wasn't just preparing the table, setting the scene for a feast. He was simultaneously strengthening your hands, fortifying you to hold and manage the abundance that the feast would inevitably bring. Influence, honor, lasting legacy, provision, clear vision, and most importantly, profound spiritual authority. You're carrying something weighty now, something of significant importance. And this weight doesn't crush you, doesn't overwhelm you. Instead, it confirms you, validates you. It confirms that what rests upon your life isn't ordinary or commonplace. It's been carefully carved in the secret, unseen places, proven through times of isolation and solitude, and ultimately crowned by the divine. As you continue to walk forward, notice how the resistance gradually fades away. Not because it has completely vanished or ceased to exist, but because your elevation, your new altitude, no longer permits conflict at that lower level. You're not fighting the same old battles anymore, engaging in the same petty squabbles. That's because you no longer inhabit the same realm, the same sphere of influence. The altitude has changed, and as a result, the warfare itself must now bow to the word that has been spoken over you, the divine decree concerning your life. And that word isn't just a vague promise or hopeful aspiration. It's a concrete declaration, a firm pronouncement. When God declares your rank, your position, all opposing forces are rendered irrelevant, powerless. They simply can't argue with what has already been settled in heaven, what has been divinely ordained. This is the moment where clarity crystallizes, where everything comes into sharp focus. Your past no longer confuses you, no longer haunts you with unanswered questions. Instead, it qualifies you, equips you. The pain that once clouded your vision, obscuring your perspective, now becomes the very platform for your discernment, your ability to judge wisely. You see things differently because you've been through a different kind of experience, a transformative journey. Your insight isn't based on mere education or academic learning. It's rooted in profound transformation, a deep inner change. You were carefully shaped in the shadows, molded in mystery, and built in quiet solitude. And now, your royal energy doesn't need to shout or clamor for attention. It resonates, vibrates with power. It penetrates deep into the spirit of those who encounter you, settling there with undeniable force. There's a distinct rhythm to your movement now, a sense of purpose guiding your steps. You're not racing, not frantically chasing after fleeting opportunities. You're reigning, ruling with wisdom and grace. You no longer chase after fleeting moments. You steward momentum, carefully managing and directing the flow of energy. You no longer strive for alignment, desperately trying to fit in. You are the alignment, the standard by which others measure themselves. God is using you as a living signal, a divine indicator of what obedience, surrender, and unwavering faith can create when yielded fully to His will. You are becoming a testimony in motion, a living example of divine power. And as you walk in this new rhythm, don't be surprised when miracles begin to match your stride, falling into step with your journey. That's not mere coincidence or random chance. It's covenant, a divinely ordained agreement. You are awakening memories in people, stirring something deep within their souls. Divine memories, echoes of eternity. When they see you, something ancient stirs within them, something strangely familiar. That's because you carry more than just charisma or outward charm. You carry code, royal code, intricately woven into your DNA by the very breath of God Himself. And now that the code is activated, doors will swing open before you even knock. Agreements will find you, seeking you out. Connections will surface seemingly out of nowhere, appearing as if by magic. You won't be able to fully explain the timing, the perfect synchronicity of events, but it will be undeniably perfect. That's the unmistakable sound of a divine decree being fulfilled, a prophetic word coming to pass. Even your surroundings are shifting, undergoing a noticeable transformation. People, places, opportunities, everything is beginning to respond to your true identity, aligning with the person you were always meant to be. That's not a superficial shift from the outside in. It's the natural echo, the inevitable consequence of what God has already established deep within you. Your spirit has been crowned, recognized in the heavenly realms, and the world is simply bowing to what was always true, acknowledging your inherent worth. What's inside you is no longer hiding behind false humility or self-deprecation. It's rising with boldness, not to dominate or control, but to illuminate, to shine forth with divine light. Your royalty is not about wielding power over others, asserting dominance. It's about wielding power over your purpose, taking control of your destiny. The version of you that once waited for permission, seeking approval from others, has been retired, put out to pasture. You're no longer asking if you're ready, doubting your abilities. You're answering because you are stepping into your calling with confidence. Your presence is permission enough, a silent authorization. Your walk is living proof, a testament to your transformation. Your voice is an invitation to transformation, beckoning others to join you on the journey. God has designed this next level to respond to who you've become, the evolved version of yourself, not who you used to be, the person you've outgrown. That's why the old tools stopped working, the old strategies became ineffective. The old language stopped fitting, the old ways of communicating felt inadequate. The old environments became too small, too confining. They were meant for a season, a specific period of time. But you have outgrown that season, transcended those limitations. And now your rank requires space, demands room to expand. Do not be alarmed by the sudden quiet, the unexpected stillness. Sometimes heaven deliberately silences the noise, the distractions, before the coronation, before the official recognition. What feels like stillness is actually sacred alignment, a divine attunement. You're not being ignored or overlooked. You're being refined, purified like gold. The silence itself is speaking volumes, communicating profound truths. The divine orchestration is unfolding behind the scenes, a complex tapestry being woven. And you're about to walk into rooms built specifically for you, custom-made for your unique gifts and talents. Not rooms you have to adapt to, bending over backwards to fit in, but rooms that recognize you upon entry, welcoming you with open arms. The seats that were once taken, occupied by others, are being vacated, made available for you. Not by your force or manipulation, but by divine appointment, a preordained arrangement. You didn't need to push your way in, elbowing your way to the front. God made a way for you, clearing the path. There is no going back from this point, no turning back the clock. The shift is irreversible, a permanent alteration. You've been upgraded, elevated to a new level, and heaven doesn't offer trial versions or temporary fixes. When God declares something, it is final, unchangeable. The royal energy activated within you now will carry you through doors, opening up new opportunities. It will guide you through dimensions, navigating unseen realms. It will inform your decisions, providing clarity and wisdom, and it will lead you to divine designs, fulfilling God's ultimate purpose for your life. You will see things before others do, possessing a unique perspective. You will walk paths others fear to tread, demonstrating courage and resilience. You will speak when others hesitate, voicing the truth with conviction, not because you're inherently bold or fearless, but because you're burdened with purpose, driven by a divine calling. And purpose, when partnered with royalty, creates a presence too powerful to ignore, a force that cannot be denied. You've stepped beyond mere explanation, transcending the need to justify yourself. You've entered into embodiment, fully embracing who you are meant to be. You're no longer trying to convince the world of who you are, laboriously listing your qualifications. Your very essence is undeniable, radiating authenticity. That's what happens when God declares your rank, when heaven bestows its blessing. The argument ends, the struggle shifts, and the light turns on, illuminating your path. You become a beacon, a guiding light, not because you sought to be one actively pursuing fame or recognition, but because you surrendered to the process that made you one, allowing yourself to be molded and shaped. This beacon is not for attention, not a vanity project. It's for direction, guiding others towards their own destinies. And now, many will find their way simply by witnessing how you move, how you speak, how you remain grounded in your calling, steadfast in your purpose. This divine royalty doesn't distance you from people, elevating you above them in some artificial hierarchy. It deepens your impact on them, allowing you to connect on a more profound level. You are not above others, looking down from a lofty position. You are planted among them with purpose, strategically positioned to make a difference. That purpose shines now, not from your position or title, but from your posture, your humble demeanor. Your humility carries weight, a quiet strength. Your silence roars, communicating volumes without uttering a word. Your presence teaches without words, imparting wisdom and inspiration. And those around you begin to sense the shift, not just in your words but in your frequency, the energetic vibration you emit. This is not mere charisma, fleeting charm. This covenant, an enduring agreement with the divine. The covenant is alive in you now, pulsating with power, and it will not be denied, cannot be suppressed. From this moment forward, everything in your life must align with the authority you carry, the divine mandate you possess. No more tolerating lesser versions of yourself, accepting mediocrity. No more playing small to fit into frames that were never meant to hold your light, confining yourself to limited expectations. You've stepped into your expansion, embracing limitless possibilities, and the light of God within you refuses to be dimmed, cannot be extinguished. Even your rest now becomes prophetic, filled with divine intention. Even your stillness becomes power, a source of untapped energy. Even your pauses hold presence, exuding a quiet strength. That is the unmistakable mark of one who carries royal energy from the throne itself, radiating authority and grace. Rested yet ready, calm yet commanding, hidden yet highly favored. The wealth being drawn to you isn't just monetary, not simply financial abundance. It's multidimensional, encompassing all aspects of life. It's the wealth of wisdom, profound understanding. It's the wealth of clarity, clear vision. It's the wealth of innovative ideas, creative solutions. It's the wealth of supportive people, meaningful relationships. It's the wealth of strategic partnerships, collaborative ventures. It's the wealth of influential reach, amplified impact that multiplies with grace, expanding beyond your wildest dreams. When heaven declares your rank, when God elevates your position, earth releases its treasures, unlocking hidden resources. And not just for your own consumption, not merely for personal gain, but for the building of something sacred, a legacy of lasting significance. You are not gathering just to have, hoarding resources for yourself. You are gathering to be a light, illuminating the path for others. You are gathering to be a blueprint, a model of divine success. You are gathering to be a living reminder that when God promotes a soul, it doesn't come by force or coercion, but by fulfillment, the realization of one's divine potential.